Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Colonel Frank Colley. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier.
Catapult party, attention! Catapult party, present arms. Catapult party, shoulder arms. Catapult party, outwards, turn. Catapult party, slow! Catapult party, present arms. Catapult party, reverse. Catapult party, rest on.
If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Catapult party, attention! Catapult party, present arms.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wherefore toil, our home
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Frank Mathew Coffee. Frank Coffee was born on the 11th of April, 1887, in Willoughby, New South Wales, one of 6 children born to Francis and Sarah Coffee. Frank studied at St Stanislaus College in Bathurst and St Ignatius College in Sydney. In 1902, he moved to Kentucky in the United States to study engineering. After returning to Australia for a short period, he returned to America in 1906 to study journalism at Stanford University in California. On his return to Australia, Coffee took up employment in Melbourne with Sydney's Sun newspaper and later Melbourne's The Age. In January 1915, Coffee enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force. He was assigned to the 24th Battalion. During training in Broadmeadows, he was promoted to corporal, then sergeant, and then lieutenant, before embarking from Melbourne aboard the troop ship Demosthenes in July 1915. The 24th Battalion went ashore at Gallipoli on the 4th of September and spent the next 16 weeks sharing duty in the Lone Pine trenches with the 23rd Battalion. The fighting at Lone Pine was so dangerous and exhausting that battalions rotated every day. Allied positions were regularly shelled and there was an ever-present danger of enemy snipers. Coffee wrote home to his father in September, remarking, "If I merely write, you will receive the letter a month hence, and by that time we will either have forced the Dardanelles or still be going strong, and I may be okay, or wounded, or dead. And somehow I don't expect to be on the killed list. Give the whole family my best love and let them know I will do my duty. Coffee's unit was serving in the vicinity of Lone Pine in November 1915, shortly before the Allied decision to evacuate the peninsula. The failure of the August offensive months earlier had prolonged the stalemate and devastated morale. Combined with the onset of winter, continuing the campaign would prove costly. In the final months of the campaign, however, fighting continued. Trenches were regularly shelled by the enemy, making it difficult for troops to consolidate their lines and necessitating constant repairs. Enemy machine guns were also active, making daily life in the front lines a dangerous affair. Coffee's unit carried out regular raids on the Turkish trenches during their final months at Gallipoli, often sustaining casualties. Lieutenant Frank Coffee was undertaking a raid with his unit on the 18th of November when he was hit and killed in action. He was 28 years old. As Coffee's death occurred early in the war, little information about the circumstances of the young lieutenant's death could be obtained. His remains were not located until several years later, partly due to the efforts of his bereft father, who worked tirelessly to locate the final resting place of his son. Coffee's remains were reinterred at Lone Pine Cemetery on the Gallipoli Peninsula, where they lie under the inscription chosen by his grieving parents. He died for God, right, and liberty. Such a death is immortality. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Frank Mathew Coffee, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
Catapult party shoulder.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Catapult party present. Arms.
lest we forget.
Catapult party in words. Turn. Catapult party, quick, march.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrubber Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.